East Bay, what's good? All the normal people be quiet. So many blessings in my life, y'all. I went to a really cool birthday party last weekend. It was like water on the lake and a boat. We partied real hard, listened to music. I got engaged, had some watermelon. But let me tell you about the watermelon though, because the watermelon was so good. I'm engaged, y'all. Now the title today is Don't Fight the Feeling. If you're my age, you're laughing for a reason. That's a Too Short song. And I'm thinking if we're talking about forgiveness and kindness, it's only natural we talk about how to not fight the feeling, especially since Too Short is from this very city. Yes. A child comes to the world full of love and only love. A child comes to this planet eager to express the love of God. It isn't until the adults around the child begin to give the child their own baggage that the child learns these error thoughts that we've picked up along the way. There's this thing that exists called the flow. We're always using the flow whether we're aware of it or not. The flow is the exchange of energy that we all pass to each other. It's responsible for our abundance. It's responsible for everything in our life. This flow, it is the vibrations that we give off and continue circulating. It is omnipresent. It is everlasting. It is unlimited, this flow. Now, the only way for the flow to work properly is if it continues circulating. When we begin to hoard things is when we begin to stagnate the flow in our lives. Holding grudges is something I'm very good at. I'm quite good at holding a grudge. Ask any of my friends who are New England Patriots fan, they'll tell you. I hold grudges very well. It was a fumble, I don't care. One thing I'm realizing about holding grudges is that it stops our flow. In order to receive, we must open ourselves up. When we close ourselves off, we can't receive our blessing fully. Now, yeah, you do protect yourself from being hurt, sure, but you don't really get to experience the love that we all come here to experience anyway. When we hoard, we stop the flow in our lives. And what we're hoarding are error thoughts. That time somebody told you you weren't good enough to make the team. That time somebody told you you was ashy and you never got over it. See, we hold on to this and take it with us everywhere till we start believing that it actually defines us in some way. Yeah, that happened to me. Yeah, that's my story. It doesn't have to be your story if you don't want it to be. Now, we're not just talking about forgiveness, which is a subject I have to be honest with. I'm not too fond of forgiveness, y'all. But I have to practice it or else I'm going to stop the flow in my life. But see, we're also talking about kindness. Now, I can get with kindness. It's the forgiveness part I'll always have a little bit of issues with. Kindness, to me, is what true courage looks like. That brother who leaves the house all the time with his mug on me, he's looking tough, with the stank face, that guy. I used to think that was a tough guy right there. I used to be afraid of him. I realized that all that dude is doing is shielding himself because he's been hurt. You don't fool me, bro. You need a hug. Kindness is what true courage looks like. Kindness is being bold enough to say, yes, by putting my heart out there, you may reject it. You may hurt me. You may say things that hurt me, period. But I am aware of the God presence in me, so I'm not afraid to love all I see. We love standing up every Sunday and talking about how God is the only presence in our lives. But do we truly understand what we're saying? That each and every face we see is an extension of ourselves. That we reflect off each other. See, that's what kindness looks like. There's only one lie we can tell ourselves, and that's the belief in separation. The only fight we are seeing regularly on TV, anything, is the belief in separation. But true kindness is what courage looks like in the flesh. I'm not afraid to love. I love freely. I don't care who rejects it. That's a courageous person right there. Being mean is nothing but fearful. Hate is not real. What hate is that same fear of putting your heart out there. But now you have baggage with that fear. Something done happened to you along the way, and you're carrying it with you everywhere until it develops into what we like to call hate. But you can only hate someone if you love them first. You broke my heart, I hate you. Because hate is a false thought. So when we come across a hater in our lives, let's remember not to be salty with those who express pain in their lives toward us. It might have came across as personal, but they're seeing somebody who you remind them of. It's not even about you. Amen. They woke up with that morning, and you just happened to be there. I'm not saying accept abuse. I'm saying don't carry that moment with you if you don't want to. There was a time in my life, not too long ago, where I felt that forgiveness was the sucker's way out. Where I'm from, you can't really let stuff ride like that. You can't really forgive that quickly where I'm from. You gonna let that happen? Really? There is nothing more gangster than forgiveness. Some of y'all are clapping just because other people are clapping. Understand what I'm saying right here. There is nothing more gangster than forgiveness. A rapper by the name of Casual dropped a line where he said, "I'm dangerous like stepping on a gangster's shoes." And I was like, that's pretty dangerous. But then he flipped it and said, but a real boss will be like, man, I got plenty of those. That's the abundance we're talking about. When you know that you are full of that God presence and that you cannot be touched, it's no need to hold grudges. As soon as it happens, you're already over it. Oh, bro, don't even trip. You know what? Let me get that for you. That's gangster, y'all. There's a saying that a lot of my people from Frisco said, especially after y'all got that first World Series. It's small things to a giant. Y'all remember that? If you really think about what we're saying in that small things to a giant, what we're saying is I am bigger than the conditions that are presently in front of me. So when I know I'm going to be out of bounds and I'm in someone else's neighborhood and they say, oh, well, what happens if somebody runs up on you? I can say small things to a giant. That doesn't affect me, homie. In the town right here, what we were saying was, it's nothing to a boss. I see you, Jay. You remember the nothing to a boss. I done heard you say it plenty of times, bruh. It's nothing to a boss. These street sayings we say, let's not forget, these are real affirmations. Let's not front like it just sounds cool. It sounds cool because, we cool. It's nothing to a boss. Let's stop allowing these things we come across to affect us and define our day for us. As soon as somebody brings that funk to you, scream it to the top of your lung. It's nothing to a boss. Who's the boss of your life right now? Who's running it? Are you deciding to give that power away, or do you remember the presence you came here with? I remember when I was a teller at Wells Fargo, about 1 million years ago, and to get into the safe, you had to put in a certain kind of code, and then I was a rookie, so I messed up, and when you mess up with the code of the bank, the safe freezes for like 3, 4, 5 hours until you can get back in again. Of course, I did that, and the boss was not pleased at all. In fact, he beatboxed me. You know you beatbox somebody? That right there. Very unprofessional. You don't beatbox me. You my boss. And it hurt. He wanted me to punish myself for making this mistake the whole day. And I started to do it. I started to feel bad. I started to take that abuse he gave me and go within, and something said, hold up. And after he walked away, after the beatbox sound kind of just stopped echoing in my ears for a while, I was determined to show him that regardless of how angry he was at me, I was going to have a good day. So I went right to making jokes with people and joking with everybody and just having a great day. He was still in the corner mad about something I did. I'm realizing now that I forgave him and I forgave that mistake that I had made. Without even knowing it, that's what I did in that moment. Forgiveness keeps us free. In order to put someone in jail, you have to be in there with them. You got to check on them all the time. You got to make sure they're not filing locks down, and you have to always worry about them even when you're not there. To keep someone in jail, you yourself have to be in prison with them. I wasn't about to do that day. You go ahead and stay in that jail if you want to. Me, bruh, I'm fit to enjoy my freedom. One of the best lessons my parents ever gave me was to forgive themselves for the mistakes they feel they made and then continue on being happy in their lives. They could have easily coddled me. They could have easily stayed there and be like, oh, we messed you up so bad. They didn't do none of that. Look, I've made mistakes along the way. I've done my best. And let me give you another gift and show you that life goes on even after this so-called mistake we've experienced. Honestly, forgiveness isn't even about the other person. Forgiveness is quite selfish, if you ask me. See, this person is bringing this beef to you, hoping that you engage them in it. It's very important to them. They want you to fight with them. By forgiving them, you're saying, I can tell this is important to you, but I have more important stuff to do, so I'm out. That's selfish. There's no better way to punk somebody than forgive them. Where I'm from, 23rd, there was a time where it wasn't really okay for me to be in the dirty 30s. was one dude at my school especially who I didn't like. He didn't like me. And he caught me when I was out of bounds. And he walks up to me with all his boys, and I'm already seeing it coming. And he says the universal, "What's up?" But the "what's up" wasn't the "what's up, how are you doing in your life? Your aura looks really pretty. I see your karma from... No, he didn't do none of that. It was like, "What's up?" But I flipped his "what's up," right? This is how I did that. He said, "What's up?" And I was like, "Hey, man, what's up? How you been?" And I could tell he got mad because he's like, "No, that's not what I meant. Wait, no, oh." We don't have to pick that up if we don't want to. Let's let go of shame and let's let go of blame. Let's let that stuff go. Does it really serve us anyway? There's a story my grandmother tells about the baseball game. And the pitcher throws the ball, and the batter sees it coming. He already is like, "Oh, that's a ball." And the bat catcher is like, "That's a strike." You know, the coach in the dugout, he's thinking, "That's a foul." But the umpire says, "It ain't nothing until I call it something." Who's the ump in your life right now? Who's deciding for you what to feel? If you know you're whole, perfect, and complete, then there's nothing you need to pick up that somebody gives you. You have everything right now. Quit looking for your definition of you in other people. If I told Michael Jordan right now, "You can't even play hoop that well," you think he's going to get mad at me? That's going to make his day. He'll probably laugh and give me a free pair of shoes. Stop standing in line for them Jordans. Just find MJ and insult his basketball skills. You won't have to pay for a pair of kicks. He's going to be like, "You have made my day, young man." When you know you tight, there's nothing anybody can tell you. They can only say something to you that you already accept for yourself. So if you leave the house knowing you're looking raggedy, and I'll be like, "Yeah, but what's up with that coat, though? You gave that to me. I did that. You sent that my way. I can't be mad at me for that. You knew that coat was..." All right, let me stop. I realize as I talk, people come to me afterward and be like, "You really offended me when you was talking about my coat." Holding grudges is giving away our power. That's saying that this situation took something from me. To forgive is to live in the now. But to hold a grudge, you got to live in the past. And our power is in the now. You can't be powerful yesterday. And we already know the future never comes anyway. So all we have is right now. In order to fully be in power, you have to know what's going on right here. Staying fully present is where our power is. When we live in from the now, we're forced to be honest with ourselves. See, those other feelings we have, feelings where you don't feel so confident, we can be honest about those feelings. And as long as we stay in the now, we can figure out why we're getting those ill thoughts. But as long as we try to define it from our past pain, we're only going to have our stagnation in the flow that we're here to experience. If there's something in your life you're afraid of, you are obligated to learn about it. If there's anything in your life right now that you are afraid of, you are obligated to figure it out until you are no longer afraid anymore. I was afraid of bees and dogs and people over 6 feet. I was afraid of all that. I learned about bees and dogs and got me a boxing membership somewhere. Whatever you need to do to not be afraid, do it. But as long as you sit there and be afraid, are you really experiencing your life all the way? There's your dream house right there. Your dream house, perfect price, perfect size. The neighbors get along with you. But you don't want to take it because there's a beehive right above the house. Guess you got to pick another house, right? That house is right there for you, but you just can't get over those bees. If there's something in your life that you're afraid of, you are obligated to learn more about it. This is how we keep those grudges from coming into our life and stagnating the flow. Let's stop fearing black people, y'all. Don't get uncomfortable. I needed to say that, and you know I needed to say that. Let's stop fearing black people. Get to know us before you allow the media, which also is afraid of black people, to define who we are for you. Whatever happened in your past, please forgive it and allow a new experience to come forth. I've been jacked by the police. I've been called the N-word by white people, other people who aren't black. I've been called that. Not once have I ever said all cops are bad, all white people are bad. I've gone through painful experiences. Let's stop allowing our past to define our future. Amen. Let's forgive that, put it down if we don't like what's there. Black people are awesome, y'all. Now, we do talk pretty loud in the theater, I'll give you that. But I think we all right. You can excuse that. At least I don't yell nothing corny at the screen. Everybody is awesome. And yes, all lives do matter. So why don't you prove that by helping me fight for mine? To hold a grudge is to judge. And when we judge, we are living from our ego. Now, I used to always hear, know the difference between your soul speaking and your ego. Here's what I believe. The ego only speaks from separation. The soul, which of course we don't have a soul, we are a soul. The soul speaks from oneness. So when you're feeling yourself and you're arrogant, that's okay. If you're feeling yourself and you're arrogant because you know that you are one with God and everything you see around you is also God. But if you're feeling yourself because you think everyone else is beneath you, that's the ego. To grudge is to judge. Now, I'm sure all the intellectuals who are now thinking of extreme ways to contradict what I just said will come to me later. My only comeback to that is, so have your comeback ready. I'm only here to give you some game. You can either take dominion in your life, or you can watch everybody else have fun. I ain't come to debate. I came to spit game. There's a saying growing up that a lot of the OGs would say, you know, like, if you couldn't come to your parents with what you want to talk about, at least what I would do is, I would go talk to the OGs who was hanging out. One of their favorite things to do, you ever notice how OGs always talk with their fingers when they get excited? Like, hey, man, you know, yeah, man. Like it's hypnotizing me, like this makes the message better. Yeah, man, you know, don't look at me when I talk, but you see this right here? Yeah, man. Be good to the game, and the game will be good to you. Yeah. Now, when I first heard that, I thought that was some street gibberish until I really thought about what was being said right there. Be good to the game, and the game will be good to you. The game is anything you participating in. And we're all players in the game of life. The vibrations you put into the game, called life, are exactly what you're going to get back. We're dealing with frequencies here. You can change the channel whenever you want. You want to be rich, tune into the rich people channel. You want a loving relationship, be around the people who are on that frequency. Yes. All you have to do is change your thinking. Be good to the game, and the game will be good to you. Yes. You can't disrespect the game that you in. Disrespecting the game that you've chosen to play is disrespecting yourself. That sounds like a little corny after-school special, so I'm going to break that down exactly what I'm talking about. Your opponents and your teammates are all in the game you're playing. You may actually play the game better than them. But the moment you start disrespecting them and acting like they're beneath you, we now have to put an asterisk by your stats. You see, we thought you were great, but you can only be great if you're playing against other great people. So by dissing your teammates and your opponents and saying they're beneath you, well, then that means you're not all that great, homie. Y'all heard the Mary J. Blige song with Smith and Wesson, I shine, you shine, right? Yeah. We all reflect off each other. That's what namaste means. The divine in me recognizes the divine in you. But the moment we start fronting like we're bigger than the game, which is life, bigger than the game that we're playing, that's when we start seeing that stagnation. Greatness attracts greatness. We can't look down on those around us because that's only downing our own greatness. I remember when Charles Patton talked about the no and how to handle the no. And we all have gotten that no throughout our life. Something we really, really wanted. And of course, what good is faith if it never gets tested? We get tested when we go after what we want, and we hear the word no, because we're supposed to. Now, some of us recognize that no, we laughed about it and got past it, but a lot of us carried that no with us. That time they picked you last for kickball and told you weren't good at sports. That time we tried to ask homegirl for a dance and she was like, nah. Maybe y'all actually heard a no, but I got nah back then. So, like, if y'all want to laugh at my pain, that's fine, but it took a lot of courage to be up here. Why do we carry these no's with us? It's like we carry it around with us as if it defines us now. As if we're nothing without that painful experience. Then we wonder when we approach the things we want in life why we keep hearing the same no. You're wearing it. They saw it before you even got there. You're filling out those job applications with the word no in your mind. You stepped to homegirl with the no already in your mind before she told you no. Let's let go of that no. Let's shed that off. Do whatever you got to do. That's what rituals are for. Rituals don't do anything but remind you of the truth. When you sage off, you're just saging off those no's. Or smudging, or whatever you call it. I know we got some hippies in the crowd. I'm one of them, don't trip. Let's stop taking those no's with us. As I forgive the past, see, that's my favorite one because we say it all the time as if it's just regular talk. When you got that ticket downtown and you knew you had more money in the meter, are we going to let the day be bad now? Or are you going to laugh it off? If you can't laugh at it, you're not yet healed from it. Yes, think about something in your life you're still mad about. If you're still cringing, we got work to do. Forgiveness is freedom. Don't forget that. Let's stop putting ourselves in a prison with our own error thoughts. In order to fully get over it, you have to forgive the situation. You have to be able to laugh at it. We've all been through painful experiences. We've all been through those relationships that we didn't really like. Are we going to carry them with us to the next situation? You remember Erykah Badu's Bag Lady song? Bag Lady, you gonna hurt your back carrying all them bags like that. Hear what she's talking about? She's talking about the baggage. She's talking about all those bags slowing you down from your destination. Your bus is waiting on you, and you can't get there fast enough because you want to overpack. Let that go. There was a time when I carried that baggage. There was a time when even something good, when it came to me, I didn't trust it. I had a very amazing person touch my life, and I was like, I'm not trusting this. What's going on here? Pretty girls aren't nice to me. I didn't trust it. I was like, who's trying to kill me? I know there must be a hit out or something. In order to experience the good that we want for our life, we have to put those bags down and open our arms first. Stop closing yourself off. It is our natural instinct to be kind and forgiving. Don't fight the feeling, y'all. Namaste.